Welcome to Visibility by Design podcast with your host, Juliette Stapleton. In this show, I want to help you combine your marketing strategies and your human design potential so you can show up, stand out, and attract your perfect clients with confidence and ease. Are you ready? Enjoy the show. Hi guys, welcome back to Visibility by Design podcast with your host Juliette Stapleton. And today, oh my God, I'm getting goosebumps all over my body because I'm going to introduce you to one of the most favorite people I have in the world. Not because we're best friends, not because we know each other very closely, but because it's someone that when we independently sort of found out about each other and then we connected, there was just this instant, we're made from the same dough, I think.
Yeah.
There is this kind of thing that just really connects. I understand everything about her and she feels me. And This is amazing. So guys, Helena Woods, world leading traveling astrocartographer, YouTuber, online course creator, an absolutely fantastic burst of light, and all in one. And I absolutely, I'm so honored to have Helena, you here today. I am hoping that this conversation will be really eye-opening because, guys, Helena is a very successful entrepreneur. She is leading a business that's one of the biggest astrocartography businesses in the world. If you just come across Helena's, let's say, Instagram or, YouTube, and you look at her and you're like, she's showing up, she has all these things, she's constantly on the ball. I want to talk about what's behind all that visibility and how much it takes. This is important to see the person behind that showcase of, this is me at my best sort of form. Let's have a talk about what will we learn today?
Yeah, well, we can talk about what it took to get here, the challenges that I still struggle with, the challenges that it took to build to get to this point. I think a lot of people on social media just think, oh, it comes so easy to her, it's so effortless for her, and it's like, no, it's work, and it's taken me years to get to this point. I finally, I would say, made it at like year 10. Like, it took me forever. And so, we could talk about that. What are some other things you'd love to talk about in the episode?
I know that you've written a book, Slow Living.
Yeah.
And I practice something like that. I haven't read the book, full disclaimer, but the moment I read just even the name of it, I thought, this is something that I subscribe to, less hassle, more being present. So I'd love to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
And of course, coming from the first point, I want to talk about how do you cope with coming up with ideas for your content, being in the flow. And I noticed that you have a lot of launches, like you're constantly selling something. And I know that also people who haven't done all this work very often have this like that notion that you don't have to sell all the time. I'm guilty. I also sometimes, avoid selling myself.
Yeah.
However, I want to highlight how important it is to actually be making offers all the time. And you're one of those people. And I want to also see, how do you cope with having so much at the same time? How do you approach this? Because also, let's just talk about human design for 1 second. Guys, Helena is a 3-5 manifesting generator with the sacral authority. So this is living in the moment, being inspired by whatever is out there, giving you the available energy to pursue this. And also with the 3-5, there is a lot of change. The 3-5 is not something that you can, create your 12 months plan and stick to it to a T, because there's always going to be something that you're going to bump into, right?
Completely. It's like, it's so much contradiction and change, and leaving room for that flexibility and the flow of a sudden idea. Just as an example, for about 6 months, I have been preparing to launch a timing astrology certification program for just recently when we had this beautiful astrological alignment this summer. But what happened was my dear friend, had launched a very similar program to me, and there was a lot that was very similar in messaging, marketing, content. And I just decided 2 days before, I have to switch my launch because she's my dear friend. I don't want it to be like I'm competing with her. and it just doesn't feel right to do it at the same time. I'll wait till it passes. And so last minute, 2 days before, I write a brand new, like, and keep in mind, the sales page is ready to go. Everything's set up and ready, graphics, everything. Last minute, 2 days before, I start thinking, what am I going to do instead? The day before I'm on the plane, I write the sales page. I write the content, a whole document. That night before bed, I put up the sales page. So I add the pictures, I buy a template, and then I put it in everything, set up the back end so everything's working. And then I launch at like 4 o'clock in the morning. And I had the most successful launch. It was 1 week. We did it for 1 week and it fucking was incredible. And it was just like, there we go. A perfect example of like, I actually thrive a little bit in chaos in the sense of change. Like
I
when
love it.
some kind of lightning bolt comes down and it's like, Helena, you need to do this. I'm like, all right, let's go play and have fun and see what we can make from this. And
It's so third line, isn't it? It's like you have to be pushed, you have to be kicked up the ass or
I
something
know.
to actually start moving and doing something. Yeah.
But people, and I tell people these stories of how like launching can be easy. Like I just launched in an evening. I wrote everything and launched in one evening, and it's like content too, I've learned everything through experience.
Mhm.
Everything is through experience from me getting out into the arena and like fighting it out. That's kind of how I would describe it is like putting yourself out there, going through challenges. But then I have all these stories and lessons and experienced wisdom to share with people. And that's why so many people love my courses and learning from me is because I share like actual stories.
Mm. Yeah, exactly. This is not just some polished, theory material. This is raw first-hand delivery.
Yeah,
This is how I did it. This is what I understand, because
exactly.
that's what you actually truly know. Guys, before we go a little bit deeper, I really urge you, even if you are, you're listening to this and if you're doing nothing else, open up an about page on Helena's website. So it's helenawoods.com/about. I got very emotional looking at that page because it shows a timeline and also the events that were happening. It took 10 years to get to the level of success.
Yeah.
Actually, this is a normal story. This is another myth that people think that it takes 90 days to get to this level of success. But when you read that timeline and you read about you working in multiple minimum wage jobs and at the
Yes.
same time, posting every single day, I'm sure you didn't have a clue what to post, but it's
No.
the commitment to posting, to showing up every day that created something, and that creates that lived experience. It's not something that you posted and then nothing happened and you're there, waiting from the universe for some, I don't know, some action, some sign, something else. No, you're an example of someone who continues doing, even though there might not be certainty, there might not be clarity, there might not be sometimes support. There have been loss, there have been things breaking apart, there have
Yeah.
been tremendous support with your husband Alex, who is
Mm,
such an asset to have, and I know firsthand with my second husband Les what it means to have that other half that is
yes.
like your rock in life. And also a lot of solo traveling, and at the same time constantly blogging or posting, starting the YouTube channel. I'm sure that when you started your Instagram, your YouTube channel, it didn't just skyrocket straight away. talk
No,
talk to us about that story, that
oh
whole.
yeah. So I'm living in Virginia. I'm serving tables. I'm working retail. I'm walking dogs on my lunch break. I have one lunch break, 1 hour free in the day, and I'm walking dogs. It was one job after the other. It was like 3 to 4 small part-time jobs in a day. I would get home at like 9 p.m., I'd have dinner with my husband, and then I would work on my website or edit a YouTube video or put together an Instagram post before bed. I was taking classes before bed and learning about SEO and how to build websites. I remember one of the reasons I started working retail was because serving tables, I was so exhausted energetically. I didn't have any time to do anything else when the restaurants are constantly busy. So I got a retail job where it was a small boutique and not a lot of people came in. And so I chose this because I wanted to have some free time to put my website together and my blog together. Like that's what I was doing. When there were no customers, I was blogging. And this was years of my life. And what's crazy is I started a YouTube channel and I remember it took me 3 years of constant posting to get 100 followers, 100 subscribers. And I remember when I got
Wow.
the email notification that said, "Congrats, you got 100 subscribers." And I was just like, really? It took me this damn long?
I
Like,
have a question. I have a
yeah,
question. 3 years,
yeah,
3 months, three
yeah,
years to
yeah,
get 100 subscribers. I know so many people who would have given up.
yeah, yeah.
How did you feel? Like, what was your experience behind posting something that's not really getting much back?
I did it because one, it was something I liked doing for me. Like I've always had this weird relationship with time where I really want to preserve moments of my life to look back on. And so whether it was a packing video or a travel tips video, it was like I wanted to preserve a moment in time and like an
Mhm.
era of my life. And so part of it was like for me, but part of it was also I know in my heart there is one person out there who is going to benefit from my videos. Like I kept that energy alive of there is one person out there who is looking forward to hearing from me. And that like faith of like one person's life was going to improve because of me was the fire that kept me going. And I remember blogging to no one. I would blog on my WordPress website, no views. Maybe my mom or maybe my friend, my husband, I would get him to read it for me. And I remember telling my friends, like, please watch, look at my blog so I can get some stats. Come watch my videos so I can get some views. And it was just like, I, I, there was a faith that it would work out someday. And I didn't know when or how, but I knew someday something would click. And that faith of blogging to no one, but knowing deep down years from now, people are going to go back to the archives. People are going to go back to this YouTube video from 6 years ago and they're going to watch it and wonder, how did she start? Like that
Mm.
feeling of like someday it will be worthwhile. And I know in my heart that it will be all the work will be worth it and a great story to tell. And I'm actually really glad it worked out that way because, I've seen a lot of people that have had sudden growth. It works for some people. I've seen people and, I know their astrology. So I'm like, I know their timing of their life. So I'm like, it's not manifestation. I know your timing, like,
Mm.
but some people do grow fast. Some people grow in 6 months. There's one girl that grew on Instagram from like 400 followers to 170,000 followers in the span of a couple weeks. And I think it's incredible because it shows people that it's possible that you can
Mm.
grow really fast. But I will say, a lot of people who grow fast like that, they can't hold it.
Yes, exactly.
They,
It's like winning a lottery. The stats that, usually when if you win a lottery, that doesn't mean you're going to be rich for the rest of your
yes,
life because it's a pressure. Success is pressure.
it is. Their mental health struggles, their physical health struggles. They can't hold all the attention, all the eyes. They start going mad. And I'm actually, for me, really glad that it took me time because I came into my own voice. I became more confident along the way. If you watch my old content, it's like I wasn't who I am now. And it took me evolution to get to this place of being really accepting of who I am and allowing myself to be fully seen and vulnerable and allowing my dark sides to show online too. Like I block people and sometimes I get a little snarky when people are mean to me online and I allow myself to show all the different sides of me because that's human. And I don't think I would have
Mm.
done that if I had success really fast. Like it took time to
Mm.
get here. And I really am grateful when looking back. 10 years is a long time, but like I'm grateful because I learned so much through that journey.
Yeah, it's like it's a slower experience, but I agree with you. Even knowing most 3 5s, and if guys, if you follow me for a while, you probably know 3 5 is like a karmic profile for me because everyone in my family, every time I meet a new friend and I do their chart, they're 3 5. So it's like This is
Wow.
the kind of person that I am meant to be around. And one thing I
Yeah.
know is that when there's too much attention on a 3-5, suddenly they want to go away. They just want to
Yep.
cut and run, and
Happens to
most of
me
them
every
say we
time.
don't like people, but it's not that they don't like people, but they want to go and be in their own thing. They're not actually someone
Yes.
who really wants to be constantly in the line
Yeah.
in the light, right?
No.
And yeah, so it would have actually killed the progress. But also on the other
Yes.
hand, yes, of course, there are people who have fast growth, but there is no rule. And it's
Yeah.
really important, guys, that when everybody has their own journey, and also
Yes.
there is elements of luck, there's elements of astrological
Timing.
timing, exactly.
Yes.
There are certain ways that you are, I know in my design, for example, things happen slower, but then in bursts, and
Yeah.
so, and it's not because I'm a projector, because it's a combination of things, but
Hmm.
it's to know and to trust your process is so important. But on the other hand as well, this story about, I've been doing it for 3 years and nobody watched me, or Gary Vaynerchuk had that kind of story where he was posting his videos. He was like doing some wine tasting for his dad's soft license shop, and nobody watched them. And I went to those videos. I scrolled all the way. There was like 20 views.
Oh
This is
my
the
God.
most famous personal brand in the world.
His
So
energy, he's a Scorpio. He's a third decan Scorpio. He has so much energy and passion, and his obsession with time and like life's gonna pass you by, die. You're gonna die someday, so you might as well fucking post. Like, I
yeah,
love Gary Vaynerchuk. He's so real.
he is, and he's an immigrant, and he
Yeah.
has this kind of, there's no privilege, there's hard work, and
Yes.
you go and you. Another person that comes to mind that also talks about, doing something every day, but not everything actually shows, is Seth Godin. And I love this book, The Practice, that I have
Oh,
here, which is an amazing book about, this process, this daily work. And he says you have to, this
amazing.
is your shipping creative work, this is your work,
Yes.
your life's work, and you have to do it every day. And he says, I write blogs every day, but only a few of them get the traction and get views, but I write
Exactly.
still every day because that's my life's work. And that
Yes.
inspires me.
Oh,
Stories like
yeah.
yours inspire me because,
Yeah.
no matter, I've had the period where somebody called me the queen of visibility because I was so consistent, and then, I lost my husband and I had a
Yeah.
burnout. And to get
Yeah.
back on that, this is what you need to remind yourself, that it takes a longer time. You have to have trust, you have to have patience, and you have to stop focusing on, I'm going to have a 7-figure business, because that's
Yeah.
way too far. You need to focus on what you're
No.
going to do now,
Yeah.
this step.
And I never had that goal. I never had the goal to make a ton of money, ever. Like my goal when I started my astrology business, I wanted to make an extra $1,000, euros a month. Like that's what I wanted. I felt alone. I felt isolated. I was living in the south of France in Corsica on an island. And I had no friends really. And I was making videos about slow living. And I had learned about slow living because I had moved to France. And so after 3, 4 years, I had learned a lot about my experience adjusting from the American hustle way of life to like really slowing down and refiguring out who I am without being in the United States. So I started making videos on slow living. And I just felt like a change was coming, a pivot was coming. And also, there was no money in YouTube. I was having thousands of views every week, hundreds of thousands of views. I was making very little money. Like you kind of have to get sponsors or,
Mm.
affiliates or something to make money from YouTube because AdSense, there's like nothing there. And so what I wanted was like, I wanted to start making an extra 1,000 a month aside from English tutoring. I was doing some English tutoring on the side. And I was like, I would love to just have 1,000 euros a month. And I would love to meet people that love astrology like I do.
Can I just make this extra emphasis? Guys, this is Helena Woods. Go on to social media, have a look at her now. She just said that she had hundreds and thousands of views on her videos. And behind the scenes, we have someone who's just hoping to make 1,000 euros a month,
Yeah.
just so there's a little bit more comfortable life.
Yes.
So it just shows, don't make assumptions based on what
Mm,
you see online. You never know the
exactly.
true story. That's why you shouldn't ever compare yourself to anyone out
Oh,
there, because you
yeah.
don't know what's really happening. And somebody
Yeah.
can be showing up a lot, but still have nothing in the background as
Oh,
well. There's
yes.
so many elements,
Yeah.
and it's really important. I wanted to just like
Yes. Oh my
drill
gosh.
this in.
I would have videos go viral and all this praise in the comments, all these people, and I could barely have enough money to like, if I wanted to go on a trip in the next 6 months, I would really have to hustle for it. And it's also like I felt isolated. It's just like reading a lot of praise, but like there's no connection in person or
Mhm.
on Zoom. Like even Zoom, I feel so much connection with people, but I
Wow, I'm
didn't
getting
feel that.
goosebumps as you're saying this because it's
Yeah.
100% true.
Yeah, and I felt isolated and I was like, I need to make a change. I was really kind of in a low state. And I went into the Akashic records and meditation on my yoga mat and I said, what do I do next? Like what do I need to do? Where am I going to go next? And I just heard very clearly, speak about astrocartography online. And I had made a couple videos talking about it briefly, but not really going in depth. And literally, it felt like a full body knowing. Yes, like my whole body, my sacral was like,
Mhm.
yes, this is what I have to do. I closed the records. I got up from my yoga mat. I wrote a list of all the videos and blog posts I wanted to make on astrocartography. And then I got started right away. And that's the thing, is like I felt the electricity in my sacral. And then I moved. I did not stop. I did not hesitate. I did not doubt myself. I said, I'm at a low point right now. I need to change my life. So I'm going to ride the momentum of this inspiration that is lighting me up right now, and I'm going to move. And I posted my first blog post. I posted a YouTube video. I started getting out YouTube videos. And within 6 months, I went full time in astrology. Like we're talking giving 2 to 3 readings a day, like a lot of readings. And then my videos started growing and I started doing collaborations, and then Instagram suddenly blew up overnight. But it was like I had been on Instagram for 10 years at that point, posting consistently to nothing. Like I was at 4,000 followers when I went full time. And this is another tip for those of you. You do not have to have a huge, large social media following to go full time in your field. Like I had 4,000 followers when I went full time. And it's really about, being of service and providing a clear solution with your messaging to solve people's problems. And I knew that. I knew instinctively that like the way I was going to make money was by being really good at a skill and then clearly communicating, this is going to help you in this tangible way. Boom, 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 boom. Here's a link. And I didn't have a huge following at all, but it sold. It did well.
I so agree. I so agree. When you just need to be clear on what you actually, what is your
Yeah.
calling,
Mm-hmm.
and then how is it, where is the demand in
Mm-hmm.
that calling? Because a lot of people go too abstract and they're losing the ability, so
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
completely. I see this all the time. Like people, the way they write copy, it's very like abstract. It's very
Mm.
like story. And it's like, there's nothing wrong with storytelling, but like, can you be really clear? This is how I'm going to help you. And I feel like that's the fifth line too in me is
Yes.
like, and people do, like, people it's like they really do put me on a pedestal of like you're gonna solve all my problems, and I have to routinely like bring people down to reality. Like I can't solve everything, but I can give you these solutions in this way. But it's the messaging, and I kind of knew that early on. I literally started my website that evening. It was late at night. I was doing YouTube in the day and doing English tutoring, and at night I would put my website and my sales page together, and it's still there. Still the same thing. I haven't changed it, and it went quickly. I think it's because of SEO, really, at the end of the day, because the blogging with the keywords and then putting my blog everywhere and being like, guys, click this link. It got my blog post to the top page of Google. So when you searched astrocartography,
Mhm.
my blog was the first one that came up for a long time. And that was what started my business.
So we are talking about some very specific practical skills and activities, because a lot of people saying, well, I don't know why blog. I wrote a few blogs and there was nothing that came from it. This doesn't work.
Mhm.
Oh, yes, it does. And in
Oh,
fact,
yeah.
yes, it does. And showing up and writing every day doesn't have to bring you, guys, if you follow me, I wrote a book on visibility that sells, and it's about building your visibility castle. When you build a wall and you have thousands of bricks, that's your blog post. You cannot put pressure on these bricks to deliver you a castle. They will eventually, but it's not about this one specific brick. Some of them are actually not bricks, but maybe not beautiful, like, I don't know, embellishments. And yes, they attract attention. I have a few blog posts that attract consistently clients because readers, I love them, I welcome them, but I don't count them in terms of how my business works, because it's, you know, my late husband used to say, bums on seats, you know, clients in your bank. That's what shows if it's working or not. We were just talking about all the praise and comments and everything, and no money. When you're discussing this as a business, as something to earn, then that's very important. But
Yes.
it takes so much. You never know which blog posts will actually be very magnetic, because you have to allow yourself to just channel whatever comes out. And you really, truly never can predict that. When you start predicting it, that's when you're cheating the system. And usually it's just noise.
I know. And it's always so funny. Anytime I think, oh, this post is going to go viral, it never does. This video is going to go viral, it never does. It's the ones that are like, I do not think they're going to go viral.
Exactly. You have a completely open will center, just like I do as well in your chart. And I find that the less we care, it's those things where we just flow with the flow. We do what we need to do, but we don't actually care. There's no agenda. There's no proving. There's no commitment. And that's when you just attract, you know, you attract people. I had a call yesterday with a client, with now client, and she was saying, I want to work with you. And I was like, okay, well, these are the details. And, you know, I don't want to sell. And she says, I already want to work with you. And her voice will forever be in my head now. If I only ever try and, you know, prove that. People get attracted to you when you're in your element without agenda. And that doesn't happen, you know, often. That's why you need a volume.
And that's why, you know, I think I post so much. Like every day I post like 5 times a day on my Instagram. It doesn't take me a lot of time. It takes me 2 minutes to make a quick reel, and then I just add some captions and I post it. But I think, and they do well. And I think it's because there's that element of like, this is who I am. I'm saying what I think. I'm not overthinking things. I'm not a perfectionist. There's typos all over this post. But this is me. And there's something really like that ease of like, I'm free. You know, I'm not restricting myself. I'm not doubting. I'm not overthinking things. And I think people feel that. And it's more magnetic. And it gives people permission to be themselves. And they don't have to make everything perfect on their social media and all that. You can make a mess and do well.
The best thing I've learned about, you know, online visibility, any visibility, public speaking, is stop adding so much importance to you, to your, this is where perfectionism come in. It's the level of importance. Lower it right down. Lower it right down. It's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to be raw. It's okay to be imperfect. It's okay to forget what you want to say. It's okay to just be a human, because that's what we get attracted to, real humans. It's not specific phrasing that you came up with. It's just something that poured out of you, you know, and what you're saying is really showing that. I have one thing that because I'm thinking straight away, you know, the objections, and people can say, oh yeah, but she posts 5 times a day. Where do I have time? You already said it doesn't take a long time.
Nope. It took me 30 minutes. 30 minutes yesterday for all 5. I made 5 in 30 minutes on my living room floor yesterday.
Exactly. First of all, yes, but it's also, as it's the same story as when you see somebody really fit and you know this person spends maybe an hour or 2 in the gym every day. I have a sister who does that every day. You know, she goes work in the morning, then she goes to the gym, then she comes, sleeps 4 years. She's 60 years old now. She's in perfect shape. And you don't think that how much it takes, how much repetition. So, you know, there is we like, you know, putting on weight. We're like, oh, you know, oh, I have to start exercising. Oh, I went 3 times a week. She goes every day for 2 hours. She does everything. She doesn't hone this. She doesn't moan. She just does it. It's just about the commitment to what you do. You know, every one of us has one thing that we do. It could be a bad habit as well. It could be something, there's something that you do, you don't think about it, but it's just something you do. It's your thing. Because when somebody says, I post 5 times a day, you had to have over time made it your thing. I'm sure,
Mhm.
but you know, of course, we also have your chart, for example. You have almost 70% of collective energy. Hang on a second.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Oh my
tell
God,
me.
third line. It wasn't collective energy at all. Cancel everything, forget what I just said. This is a big cock up that I did, you know, because anyone who is a proper human design analyst will say, Juliette, how dare you? How dare you, Juliette?
Oh, who cares
But
what they
I
think?
don't care because I'm not, right? So I can
Yeah.
make mistakes and I'm a third line as
Yes.
well. So I
Yeah.
just glanced at that and I looked at the different column. It was a knowing circuit, which is empowering others by self-empowerment. So this journey actually is exactly, you're building the skills, you're showing up, you're overcoming your own struggles by doing
Yeah.
that. But that's what's
Oh, yeah.
empowering others. It's walking your
Yeah.
talk, because you're not telling others, you know, your reels are not about, here's what you need to do to post 5 reels or something. You're talking
Right.
about yourself. This
Yes,
is
I
you,
do.
yourself,
Yeah.
Alex, you know, something
Yes.
else, funny things. You're not funny things, but you're kind of like very engaging. This is a third line, you know, the energy that it gives, the leadership
Yeah.
that it gives, but
Yeah.
it's in a playful way.
Yeah.
It's not stale. It's not, you know,
Yeah.
something like this is how things should be, you know.
Yeah.
And this is the knowing circuitry, the way I see it.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
it
love
explains
that.
it.
And I
Explains it.
always feel like one thing that's the embodiment piece of like walking the talk, right? It's like whenever I'm in a place where I'm not good, I get off social media. I take breaks. I go a week offline. I go into my cave, my little 3-5 cave. I think someone once told me that like the 3-5 in human or the 5 profile is big on like your Batman in a way where it's like you go up into your cave or your tower and you hide
Yes.
yourself away. And when the world needs you, you come out and you say, okay, I'll be down there in a second. I thrive in crisis. I thrive when there's a problem. Like that is like when the world needs help or when a client needs help, when someone is having a problem, I'm like, I'm the grounded, anchored, I got this. Calm under pressure, I can help you. And it's like I do like need to go away and then come back. And I'm just thinking of the embodiment piece of how like that's how I live. Like I never pretend. I never post when I'm not good. Do you know what I mean? Like I can't.
Yes,
It
yeah, I
doesn't work.
practice that too. You know, I
Yeah.
feel like it's really important. This is why, you know, content plans, or like, let's do this every Monday. You don't know how
No.
you're going to be feeling that month. Ride the wave of your
Exactly.
energy levels, resource, inner resource, and creativity. And a good thing is
Exactly.
that if you only start, it's going to be hard in the beginning, because everything is
Yeah.
like, in the beginning we suck, then we suck less and less and less until we're so perfect. You know, we don't suck, we're almost perfect. And
Yeah.
another thing I just thought about the individual circuitry is how you started talking about your YouTube channel. You said, I just did this for myself.
Yes.
That's exactly, that's exactly it.
Yeah. I
You
wanted to
know,
preserve a moment in time from my
yeah,
life to look back on when I was 80. And I just
yeah,
kept documenting and sharing and all my travels and all my life stories. And I remember I had like a little apartment tour vlog and an apartment tour blog post. I remember like no one saw it. And I was like, this is for me, you know?
yes, yeah.
But
And it's
now like
exactly,
people look back on it and they watch it. And it's like, there was also a part of me that was like, maybe someday, you know, people will look back on this too. And like, there's that little bit of like faith. And I really think that faith is the core of it, right? If you have the faith, the belief that someday it will work out, it might not work exactly like you want it or how you would like it to or the timeline you want it to, but it will at some point. And I think that that feeling, if you can get that idea, that belief, and kind of lock it, like this is locked into place, it will work out someday. I
I
have
really agree
faith.
with that. I have a very similar thing. In fact, in Gene Keys, I recently read that my life's purpose, with the line one, it's like a transcendent violet light, that it doesn't matter what's thrown at me, all the toxicity and negativity will be burned in this light. And this is how I describe that kind of faith, because that's exactly how, this is exactly what drives me through
Yeah.
everything. Because
Yeah.
it, and I don't even, you know, my view on this, and it might be slightly different, like you're saying, lock on this. I find that because I don't know what's going to happen. I'm a splenic, you're sacral. We're in the moment, people. You know
Yeah, we
what's going to
are.
happen in a few moments. It's going to be
Yes.
different mood, different energy.
Yes.
Everything is going to be different, so you can't
Yes.
plan for it, right? But
Yeah.
what you can is just blind faith that it's going to work out. I don't even care when. And I know that when my husband got second husband got ill, and he had brain cancer, so his memory started getting wonky. And the first thing was about the money, and he was saying, "Oh, where's my money? Oh, where's the money?" And I kept saying to him, "Honey, we're loaded. Honey, we have a lot of money. I am so, like, my business is going so well." And I couldn't obviously do any visibility during that time. So it's whatever I wrote that was bringing me clients, but the clients kept coming. And I write about this in my books as well, because I literally manifested by just trusting that, things are happening. I took time to grieve, but things were happening, and my business was just growing. That's the kind of result of this. That someday it's going to happen. When it happens, you don't even realize. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
always you go viral. Sometimes
Oh,
it's like,
yeah.
my accountant is saying, "Look at the facts, Juliette." She kind of almost
Yeah.
slapped me. I'm like, "I don't know how I'm doing. I feel like I'm not doing anything." And she's like, "Are you joking? You had the best year, and
Yeah.
then the next year, another best year." Things do start happening. Sometimes it can be a burst and you go viral, and you grow overnight after maybe another few years before,
After
because
many
you never
years of,
know.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you never know what happened before the
Yeah.
going viral, right?
Yeah.
But then everybody has their own trajectory and their own way. Sometimes it just accumulates. Like in my case, it just kind of accumulated, and I had to look at the facts and kind of believe my eyes, because I didn't feel that
Right.
it's getting there. But
Right.
success is a really weird thing, but you
I
have to
know.
have faith. And if
And
you
that's,
have a
yeah.
calling, and if you have a calling, that's your
Yes.
responsibility to
Yeah.
develop that faith, right?
Yeah. It's the faith. And there's a great book. It's the one book that I like literally want to have buried with me. It's called Callings, Finding and Following an Authentic Life by Greg Lavoie. I believe it was written in the 70s. I have it somewhere here. It's all marked up. But it's my favorite book, and it talks a lot about this. And this was the book that actually I took with me when I moved to France. And I read it over and over again when I was trying to find my own path and what I was going to be doing. Because I was in this phase of like not knowing what the future would be or what I would be, what my
Yeah.
callings were. I didn't know what that was. And this book really helped me get clear on, you know, the desire to help people shine by being themselves. Like that was the core value. And to find their truth from within through stillness and silence and like really building a strong relationship with their intuition above anything else. That was the other core mission. And it's funny because now I do astrology and my work literally is that work. Like I use the tool of astrology, but the
Mhm.
values of what my mission is are those two things. And I
I
do it
love
like
that.
all the time. Yeah.
I love that. And this is exactly the key. It's the secret, because people are saying, "What is my calling?" And they think about the tools and they can't decide.
Yes.
But it's not about the tools. You have to look into
No.
the values, because I absolutely, I agree. I'm also, my value is about helping you being authentic in who you are, and
Yeah.
being cocky about it. And, say,
Yes,
"Yes, I am like
please.
this. I am
God
raw. I make
damn.
mistakes,
The amount
but
of,
so
let me just
what?"
say, I get so much hate on the internet and so many people, one of the biggest criticisms people have of me of, oh, she's not humble. We don't owe you humble. Women don't owe you humble. We can be kind. We can lift everyone up. We can bring joy to the world. But I'm going to celebrate myself. I'm going to celebrate my wins because when I succeed, we all succeed. I am
Yes.
shining a light of what's possible. And by watching my life, you get elevated. You see what's possible. You think of new potentials. When someone books with me, or maybe they see my work, but they don't want to book with me, they book with someone else who does this work because I'm what is it? The rising tide lifts all boats. We all shine and succeed. And I hate one of the criticisms I see with women, like women who are confident in who they are, they get so much hate of like, be
Mm.
humble. And it's like,
Mm.
no, we don't have to be arrogant. This isn't an ego thing. It's about
Mhm.
being proud of what you've done and shining and sharing that and not saying I'm sorry or trying to hide or settle or be small. It's like, no, own it. When someone compliments you, say thank you. Yes, you know?
I
And I
love
feel like
that.
this is something I'm really passionate about right now because I've seen so much of it in the last like 6 months of like people attacking women for not being more humble. And it's like what is humility? It's like having a low view of yourself. Isn't that the definition of it? It's like not thinking highly of yourself. That's the definition of humility.
Exactly. And then, we're coming into the age of Aquarius,
I
which is
know.
about individuality.
Yes.
Humble doesn't, it's not like humble is comparison. You
Yes.
know, there is humility. We can be humble in some ways within whatever with other things, but when
Yes.
you deserve, when you
Yes.
have done something, you feel good about it, you
Yes.
feel successful. It's true. And I totally believe that when you see somebody successful, this is your opportunity. The universe is showing what's possible,
Oh,
because
yeah.
you can choose to be bitter about it. I know
Yep.
people firsthand who started getting really bitter and really, you know, trolly kind of about this, you know, that somebody else's success, that it's, you know, being rubbed in their faces. But I disagree. That I
Yeah.
think that this is a very victim mindset. You
Yeah.
are
Oh,
shown
it
what's
is.
possible, and
And
it's possible.
that's how I found you and your work is because I was really struggling a year ago with like being a 3-5 in human design and the amount of projection I get on an everyday basis, whether it's my body and projecting and making comments on my weight and my teeth and my face and my body, or it's more of a projection of this is what you can do for me. I'm going to put you on a pedestal. You're going to solve all my problems. You're going to help me. And then if I don't live up to their impossible expectations and their fantastical minds, it drops down. I fall. Am not what I lived up to in their mind, and I get a lot of weird projection around that, or like people
Mm-hmm.
suddenly don't like me. It's like I've noticed this, Juliette, like with my students. I've had students who are like such big fans of me, and then instantly they hate me.
Mm-hmm.
And
You
it's
didn't go, you didn't live up to some kind of
exactly.
projection that
And
they
I
had
didn't
at you.
I didn't
Yes.
do anything. If anything, I like praised them, I lifted them up. But it's like if I don't live up to their dream of what I am in their mind,
Mhm.
I am instantly the enemy or just someone they don't want anything to do with. They'll block me. And it's
Yeah,
like
it's a very
nothing
polarizing
happened.
experience with the
Exactly. It's a
fixed
very
line.
polarizing thing. And it's like I didn't do anything. Nothing with all this, these people, these situations I've experienced over the last year, it's literally in their own head. And I've struggled being a 3-5 in that way of like, what did I do? Nothing.
Mhm.
It was
Mhm.
projection. And learning about the 3-5 on your blog, I read all your blog posts and I just felt like, oh my God, she knows me. She understands me. This is exactly what I've been going through, what I've been dealing with. And then I got your book, and I'm just such a fan of your book. It's so good. I tell all my students about it. I love it so much. Tell everyone about it. And it's just like, I really have a lot of empathy for 3-5s. I talk about 3-5s all the time on my Instagram personally, my experiences, because like I just really feel for fellow 3-5s in human design because we really have to deal with a lot and people don't see it.
Unlike, for example, the two line,
Yeah,
two fours, for example, or the two
yeah,
fours, they experience a lot of pain. They feel it very,
yes.
very deeply.
Oh,
But
yes,
there is a different type of resilience that the third
yes.
line has. And the third line has this a little bit of like, okay, I'm going to just like shake it off. Like
Yeah,
shake it off. Yeah. That's the, I feel like I also have a third line body. And yes, this is the only way to move on from a traumatic experience and a lot of pain is to kind of shake it off and go
yeah,
again. And
yep.
not everyone has that. Other lines don't necessarily have that ability. And that's why on the surface, it's not visible that you're
Yeah.
struggling, that you're carrying so much
Oh,
pain
yeah.
inside
I
because you're
know.
moving on and you're doing well with it. That's
I
the other
know.
thing.
You know what I do? There's things I do, like I do a lot of subconscious hypnosis work. So I'll reprogram old memories from childhood. I'll connect with my highest self. And I was doing that for 3 years consistently. So people don't see the
Mm,
behind the scenes dedication to rewiring my beliefs on a subconscious
mm,
level. Like literally every night or every morning when I wake up for 3 years, it was reprogramming my money beliefs. I grew up in poverty. My
yeah.
mom was a single parent on food stamps. We had no money. And it was like constantly the desire to rewire that belief that I've always had. And it's other things too, like dancing. When I've got some energy that's not mine, I put my speaker on and I dance in my house and I just shake off the energy. I change my outfit 3 times a day depending on the mood. Oh, the mood has
I love it.
changed. The vibe has changed. Let's change the outfit. We're in a different mindset, different vibe. Even in my videos, like I seem like different people on different days because like my vibe and emotions change. And I think it's like that resilience really helps. Because we
It
do
really
experience a
does. It
lot.
really does. It's the way to deal with things because
Yeah,
instead of suffering and feeling like, oh my God, I'm so hurt, you're actually looking for solution. The third line will
exactly.
always evolve. It'll always try and push through,
Yes.
and in a way that is not, in a way that is evolving. Yes, there's five line. There's projections. I feel like I might be wrong, but I think people project at 3-5 slightly more than, let's say, 5-1s, 5-2s, because when you
Right.
have a fifth line body, this is
Yes.
more, I believe that second line is much bigger in a way, its presence, than the first line,
Yeah.
because the first line is in your head, it's in
Yes.
your mind.
Right.
So it's loud for you. But
Yeah.
generally, and even in your real life, you have to lean into the second line, like the third 3-5, for example. If you don't lean into that practicality and leadership and Batman, I love the Batman analogy because Batman didn't hang out with
No.
people, and that's what fifth line should be doing. Came
Yeah.
in practically, kill the baddies, clean up the house, the city. That's it. Now go back
Exactly.
and be a different person, have his own like parties, whatever he's doing, but it's
Yes.
not related to saving the city.
Yes.
So, and this is very natural, but because you have it in your body, people will project even more so on you. But then there is this polarizing, very charismatic third line that will bump into things, and that's why you bump into people, you bump into their standards, whatever they come up with in their
Oh, I
heads. For
know.
me, you inspire me because
Wow.
you're someone who looks like a normal person, who looks like someone you would be, that you would be like really in real life, normal person you can meet. You're not
Yeah.
some kind of like a weird perfect, person
No.
who you're like, oh my god, are there really people like that?
Oh,
Sometimes
I
it's
know. I see
difficult.
them on Instagram, like they're perfect lives,
But there is a
perfect
lot of pressure.
everything.
I have a camera that takes 20 years off me, and then I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh my God, I'm 50 this year. I look at, so
Yeah.
there is a lot of things that we can say, of course. And I believe that whatever makes you feel better about yourself
Yeah.
is, do it, because that
Yeah.
helps you show up. However, you inspire me because of this raw authenticity. Because then
Yeah.
I say, you know what, Juliette, why you're not doing it on your phone, any reels, because you don't have that filter, and then your nose is a bit too big. All these
Oh
kind of little things, and
no.
these are the I call them cockroaches in the head. It's a Russian saying, because that's what they are. They're kind of harmless but completely paralyzing thoughts. And so
Yeah.
then you end up not doing it. And I know a lot of people who are listening to this have those thoughts, because we all do have these cockroaches in our heads. But I think that working on your subconscious, even self-image, and allowing yourself
Yes.
to be the way you are, more than that kind of perfect, polished
Yeah.
idea of you, because
Yes.
this is what I'm experiencing now, being older, and then, looking at my younger looking version because of the camera filter and all this.
Yeah.
And it hurts. It's not
Yeah.
really, it's actually a really serious issue when
Right.
you start seeing your neck aging and things like that. And you're like,
Yeah.
how am I going to go and meet
Of
someone, and,
course.
with this neck,
Of
when online I'm so
course.
perfect?
I'm quite like insecure, even just like myself about like I'm very expressive all the time, even
So
when
am
I'm just
I.
working.
Crazy
And I
faces.
get these two really thick 11s right here. And
Oh,
I
yes.
started getting deep lines there. And so I started getting Botox like 3 or 4 years ago. And it's like it's one of those things I get, it's expensive, but it's like it's my own fear too. Like I don't want to look angry, I don't want to look like I'm mad at people.
Yeah.
And so I
Actually,
understand
yeah,
it's
my
relatable, it's
resting bitch face is
understandable.
very angry.
Yes.
Yes, I approach this in a very easy way, because I know that some things we need to just elevate ourselves a little bit, because
Yes.
it does interfere with the online visibility. When you
And
feel bad about
also,
how you look.
I gotta say, this might be kind of controversial, but I'm more confident with my Botox. Like, I know that
Yeah.
sounds kind of weird, but like knowing that like I don't look angry, like it makes me want to be on camera. It makes me just shine in
Yes.
myself more.
I have the same with fake eyelashes. The moment I put them
Yes.
on, and red lipstick. I don't have
Yes.
red lipstick today, but like fake eyelashes, I don't
Yes.
even wear them every day. But if I just like, I have a magnetic one. So I like clip, clip.
Oh,
Whoa, I'm
yes.
ready.
I think that's another thing that like a lot of people, women feel like they need to do something for themselves to feel good. And it's like, no, this isn't for other people. This is for us. Like I have a
Yes.
handbag collection. I love designer handbags, like old consignment handbags. And I like my day feels so good when I'm carrying my handbag around town, going to the coffee shop. And it's like, it's not for anyone else. I don't care who looks at me or what bag this is. It's for me. I have a
Yes.
vintage 2003 lime green Ferragamo bag that looks like it's from Gossip Girl. And it has stains on it. And I got it used and it's all this paint on it. And it's like, I love it. It brings a smile to my face. And I think when we start prioritizing what makes you feel good, what makes you feel alive, and like on earth on purpose, go do that.
And I'm thinking about, all the 100 pairs of earrings that I have, and that if I like something, I'll buy it in all colors.
And I also just think like I'm a Scorpio rising, so I'm always thinking about the big picture and mortality and time. And one of the things that I think about a lot is like, we're not going to be here forever. Life is brief. My dad died suddenly when I was 21, and it was a huge shock to my system. It was, I had said goodbye to him. We were kind of arguing and not really getting along at that time. And I have a lot of regrets with that. And, one of the things I learned from that experience after going through a lot of grief was like, life really is short, and you owe it to yourself to go all in. You owe it to yourself to find what you really love, to get clear on your values, and then to go live it on purpose every single day. And that's when my life changed. When my dad died, I bought a camera, used camera on Amazon with a credit card. I didn't have the money. I was serving tables. I did not have the money. I bought a camera, I bought a website domain, and I started doing photography sessions with kids and families. And I started documenting what it feels to be a kid again, like the inner child. And I would do all these photo shoots with little kids, and it was like it brought me back to myself and like what really matters at the end of the day. And I think sometimes death or loss or sudden unexpected things will bring you back to the path you're meant to go down. And I just think time and being aware of like your life matters. So you might as well do the thing. You might as well show up and post because you like doing it. If it's something you enjoy, and social media, for instance, is really a habit. That's all it is at the end of the day. It's just a
Yes.
habit that you start doing naturally all the time, and it gets easier with every post because it's a habit, a muscle that you're working. And
Exactly. I think that it's very normal, like a muscle, that in the beginning is
yes,
going to hurt a little bit. It's not always
yes,
enjoyable, but you can get in the momentum when it actually becomes enjoyable. And it's a really
yes,
cool. It's like everything is content. We were talking in the beginning that, maybe we'll talk about how you can be in the flow. But when you're in that habit, everything is content. Like
completely.
I can look at
Everything,
my pen and talk about online visibility. It's
everything.
something it's a habit.
Yes. And I've noticed that like when I take a week off social media to like, take time off work and stuff, it's hard for me to get back into social media. It's hard. Like that first post is tough.
Mm,
Like I
mm,
sit over it for like 2 days, and then eventually I have to be like, just go, Helena, just start. And then I start posting, and then it's the second post is easier, then the third one's a little bit
mhm.
easier, then the fourth one's a little bit easier, and then finally by the fifth and sixth post, I'm like, okay, I'm riding in the momentum again. But it's a habit. And I think, if you enjoy creative self-expression and sharing, and that's how I approach selling too. I sell things all the time. And one, because I love launching. Like I'm kind of bored when I'm not launching, to be honest.
Okay,
Because
talk about this because most people's like, I hate launching because so much pressure.
oh my God, I love
So
it.
what
I
makes you
love
love it?
launching because I love a goal. And
Mm.
I love a good goal to go after. I feel so good when I have a goal, when I have like something to look forward to. Even if it's not going well. Like I've had launches where like they were slow and things weren't moving, but it was the goal that kept me going and motivated. But then the second thing is I love being of service. I love showing up for people and solving people's problems. And it's like when I'm not selling something, it's like, well, why? Like, the way to help people is they go deeper in my programs because my courses are like 10 times deeper, 20 times deeper than anything on social media. Like, that's where people learn stuff. And it's like, I owe it to them. I owe it to the people to tell them about my programs because like they're missing out. They want to be served. They want to buy. And that's kind of my philosophy is like people want to pay you. People thank me all the time for paying me. And it's like when you get in that mindset of like people want to pay you. They want you to help them. So go serve them and offer and announce. And I really believe that like selling is sharing. Sharing
Yeah.
what you do, it's as simple as that. You don't have to make a whole like strategic launch plan. It's just waking up in the morning and saying, universe, God, how would you like me to help people today? And then go and share. And it's really that simple. And that's how I approach launching and selling and all of it is like I am literally helping people and guiding them to the direction of what they may need. Maybe they need it, maybe they don't, maybe it's for the future,
Yeah, but
maybe
it's up to them.
or
Exactly.
yeah,
Yes. You're
it's
not forcing
complete.
anybody.
No,
Yes.
never forcing anyone, but it's an option and it's there and it's a playful energy.
Hmm.
It's a fun energy. It's an energy of like I'm alive. I'm available. Here's my offerings if you want to come into my store. And I think of it like too as like my Instagram, my store, my website. It's like my little boulangerie shop. I live in France. And so I always go to the boulangerie to get my croissant and stuff, my baguettes. And it's like you go into the boulangerie, we've got croissants, we've got macarons, we've got baguettes, we got quiche, we got tarts. And it's like, here's the selection. What would you like? We got to put the little wooden store sign out on the sidewalk. You know, that little wooden sign. We
Yes.
got to put that on the sidewalk. Hello? We got to put the sign that says open. Bonjour, we're open. We're alive. You can come buy your baguette if you would like. If you would like, if you don't want to, that's okay, but we're open. And it's like, that's how I get up on social media every day. And that's my approach. I just open the open sign on my store. I
Hmm.
open the door, I put the sign out. We're open if you'd like to come in. And it's like that warm, playful, joyful energy. Every day, that's how I approach my business and selling. And that's, I think, why I do so well. I make money every day from my courses and everything. And it's because it comes from this energy of like, I'm alive, I'm available. If you want me to help you, I'm here, you know?
Yes, yes, yes. I absolutely love that because it just completely, let's talk about the store analogy. There are stores that have, and they do all that, but what does the owner do? Sits there grumpy inside and sulking that nobody walks
Oh,
through the door. That's the
yes,
difference. So what kind of store owner do you want to be? If that
yes,
analogy appeals to you guys, if you've ever worked or you like that environment, it's actually really palpable because you can go to stores where you don't want to be inside there because people are
yes.
just like sitting there bitter in the corner or frustrated that this
Completely.
business
And then
is
you want to
slow.
walk out and you don't buy
Yes.
anything. Completely.
Yeah,
Whereas in my
exactly.
boulangerie shop, I've got a ladder up. I'm stapling posters to the wall and I've got music playing and someone comes in, I'm like, "Oh, hello, welcome. If you have any questions, let me know." And then I'm going back and having fun in my little shop. Like that's the vibe.
That's the vibe, exactly. And it's a very small shift in the attitude. People make launches about them. What you just described is that you're making launches about your customers, your people, not anyone, not everyone in the world, but those who are need you, those who are seeking.
Exactly.
And yes, absolutely. And when you were talking about how people like or they're grateful to pay you, they want to pay you, they like paying you. I was thinking, yeah, the last few things that I bought, courses or programs, I wanted to give this person money. I was like,
Exactly.
take my money. I want access to
Please
you because you're
take it.
helping me. And I
I love it.
wanted, I was the first one to like, just take my money.
Yes.
I finished the program where there's going to be a next round next year. And I don't need it. Honestly, I don't need it. But I already booked my place. I
Yes.
don't know if I'm going to do it or not because it's going to be a different moment. But the thing is that when we want to pay money to those that
Yes.
offer us what we want, desire, need, whatever way we approach, they
Yes.
don't need to know what the soul thought process. I didn't even know
Yes.
why I was buying this program. I just
Yeah.
went to, pulled into it. I was
Exactly.
pulled into it.
Yes.
So it's really, really good. And I think it's really valuable perspective to share with people.
Yeah.
Don't make these things, selling, launches, your business about you personally, your
Right.
ego. It's nothing
Yes.
to do with that. If you feel a calling to help others, it comes with responsibility to show up for others. And it
Yes.
also comes with responsibility to tell them what you have.
Yeah. Exactly. And I always like to think when I'm in the middle of a launch, like, what will they miss out on if they want this and they don't get it from me at this time? Like, what will they miss out on?
Mm.
What will the people miss out on if if they want this genuinely and they don't get it? Or if they don't get this information, like why do they need it? And I think that really keeps my motivation going throughout a launch too, because sometimes I'll have a whole month launch, like a 4 week launch where my energy has to be consistent the whole time pretty much. I take days off. And so
Yeah.
I definitely take time off in the middle of a launch. I have reset periods. But it's just like that desire to serve, why does this matter, will motivate you consistently
Mm.
when you're in a period of selling.
And again, this is something that you might not reach to that feeling, like the grasp of that kind of thinking the first time, maybe not
Yes.
the second time, maybe not the
Yes.
third time. But if you launch
Yes.
consistently, you will find yourself feeling this, that there
Yes.
is this is a mindset shift that happens as you do it. You cannot
Yes.
just come to it from zero. It just doesn't.
No.
And everybody expects that it's going to happen.
No.
You haven't, if something is not happening in your life, there's two reasons. One, you haven't done it often enough. You
Mm-hmm.
just haven't built the skill. Second one, you may be doing something that's wrong. You need
Yep.
to assess the second
Yep.
thing. But most of the time, it's because the first thing wasn't consistent enough to even bring you to understanding what you're doing wrong. We're both third line people. Not everyone is a third line. But you know what? This is why the world is so diverse. We're here to tell you, you might not have the third line in your human design profile, but you might have it somewhere else, right? To start
Yeah.
with, if you want to look at the chart. But also, we also have all energies. So just some of them are more consistent and fixed. So
Yes.
you can lean into that other energy that you might not have like consistently, but
Yeah.
it's there available to you anyway. And you can learn from these other people who are not like you, learn
Yeah.
from them,
Yeah.
learn from us, learn from Helena
Yeah.
as a 3-5, as a third line, as a fifth line, the Batman. You have the responsibility to show up, and you need to do it for yourself,
For
as
yourself.
following your calling. Yeah,
Yes.
because you're cheating yourself by not doing. I know
Oh,
I'm cheating myself, being in this burnout, and feeling sorry for myself. Yes, there's health. Yes, there is grief. Yes, it's all valid. It's all valid. I don't want to undermine this, because people of my generation, we laugh over our pains. We're
oh
kind of
yeah.
sort of like, ha ha ha, I'm in a burnout.
Right.
But
Right.
it's this generational thing where it's just like, that's how
Mm.
we were brought up. But you can do things despite.
You're so inspiring and you're such an expander for me, Juliette. Like, I really just think you are killing it. You are a star. You are shining. You are rocking it. You've done so much incredible work. I want to get your second book on visibility that sells. That one looks really good too. I just think you're doing incredible things and I'm really excited. I want to look at your astrology later. I want to look at your astrology and see like what's the upcoming transits for you and timing and all that. But I just and I also think too, it's like enjoying the ride, enjoying the journey. And that's why I wrote a book on slow living and why I made so many videos on slow living is because like if we're not really enjoying the process of the work of putting the caption together, and every time I write a caption or post, I'm thinking of it as a diary entry. What do I wish I knew 2 years ago? What do I wish my younger self knew? Or what's happening in my life and how can I make that a lesson for other people? And it's like I love the process, that step-by-step process of like putting the caption together and finding the photos and finding the reel and putting the text on it and then finding music to it. It's like it's enjoyable for me. And it didn't start this way. It took time. It's a habit. It took time to get it to be fun and easy. And once it became easy, it became fun, right? But it's like when you get into that energy of like loving it, it's like enjoy the ride even when the views aren't there. Do you
Yes.
still love the process of it, right? It's like I didn't have any followers really on my first YouTube channel, but I still made the videos because I liked it. Like it was fun. Like I did it even without making any money. And obviously the goal is we should be compensated. We should make money for our time and our expertise, our energy. Like we absolutely deserve to be compensated for it and like own that unapologetically. But would you also theoretically do it without the money too? Because I find that like if you really genuinely enjoy the thing, that's often a clue as to what you're eventually going to be making money and good money with, right? Like
I love that.
I was giving free astrology readings for years. Years. I would, when I first started my business, I was doing tons of free readings. My friends would come over for parties. We'd have Halloween parties and white elephant Christmas parties. And I'd be like, let me pull up your chart. Let me pull up your map. I did it without money because I loved it. And you'll find that over time, the more you just pay attention to those clues, those signals, those little signs of like, what do I love? And it's
I
like,
love that. I want to
yeah,
add to this, because this is really, really important. This is in a way, I call it, and in my second book that you just mentioned on visibility that sells, I call it selfish marketing or selfish business, self in all caps, because what is convenient to you, what is enjoyable to you, what, like, make it around you. I
Yes.
know that if I didn't have to make money from my online business, I would be writing books 100%. I would be doing interviews 100%, because I meet incredible people that impossible in I live in Tallinn, Estonia. It's like in the middle of nowhere in a way,
Yeah.
like oh, in the North Pole in a way. But so there's not that many people around me,
Yeah.
but I get to meet people. So I absolutely would do that. I absolutely would probably post some stories. I don't know if I would do like a full-on social media strategy, but I enjoy sometimes sharing. And
Yes.
there's another thing I want to highlight, guys. When Helena was just talking about creating a caption and using it as a diary, not a single word was said about trying to guess what they need to hear to buy.
No.
That's a
No.
big one.
Nope. It's just
It's
asking yourself, what are you excited to talk about, and then talk about it.
exactly, and
And then
there's
at
always something.
and
There's
then at the
always
last
something.
and then the last 5 seconds is maybe an invitation if they want to go deeper. Like if I'm like yesterday, for instance, I was thinking all day with my coffee and the journaling and stuff and walking around the town. I was thinking about transits and timing and astrology and how I love it and how like it's always perfect. It's life is so divinely timed. How magical is that? That I then made a couple of posts talking about how you can start tracking your timing with your journaling practice. And I started making content around that. And then I have a little line at the end that says, if you want to learn more, comment timing. And then they get a link to my course if they want to. But it's like the invitation is there. That's the business part. But it's like, it's mainly my human self just sharing what I'm excited about and what's lighting me up.
Exactly. And if something doesn't light you up, why are you trying to make money on it? Like, why
Yeah.
are you trying to offer it if it
Yeah.
doesn't light you up? This is
Yeah.
so interesting.
Yeah.
Whatever, sometimes we all get a little bit bored. I think his third line does that. Like, I get
Oh,
sometimes
yes.
a little bit bored. I'm like, oh,
Oh,
design today, but it's not true, because
yeah.
I just don't want to talk about, like, let's say, teach human design. You have to always dig into the flavor of what specifically you don't want to do, because
Yeah.
human design, then I'll start talking about 3 5s or five
Oh,
line, and I'm
yeah.
like, oh, on fire again, because that's something that always lights me up, right?
Yeah.
So it's just finding these things and being a little bit strategic about this.
Yes.
Helena, I would literally, like, I would have like a 24/7 marathon, 350, whatever, 7 days a year with you, but we will have to wrap up. So
Yes.
I know that you have a little, like, introduction into astrology, that a little gift. Can
Yes.
you tell us about the gift that you brought today?
Yes. So I have an astrocartography cheat sheet. If you want to start learning about the power of place and how places show your stories, but also places have powerful energies around them. And if you want to learn more about like where you're living or your favorite places that you've traveled to, and you want to understand what the energy and story is of that place using astrology, I'll send you a link, Julia, of my cheat sheet, and you can get it for free. And you could read through it. And if you want to go deeper, I have a little video class that comes right after it if you want to go deeper and learn more about your map.
I was so honored. Thank you so much for spending so much time with us today and sharing. And you were so vibrant and real. And I was getting
Oh,
goosebumps all the time, because when you speak, I can tell that this is from the heart. I can tell
yeah,
that you are walking your talk. I can
yeah,
tell that, yes, of course, you are much further in all the habits and the flow, and this is
right.
why you are where you are. But I
Yeah,
love that we spoke about how long it took, how much it took, how much dedication it took, because we all want effortless success,
right.
and in a way, it's like, how do you make your marketing easy? Well, you can make it simpler and you can make it enjoyable, but you have to put the effort in, because
Yeah,
without effort, nothing happens, and
yeah,
you can continue dreaming, or you can start working,
yeah,
and this is what you inspire me, and I'm hoping the listeners as well, is that
yeah.
everything is possible. Have that faith.
Yes.
Have that
Have
faith.
faith. Yes.
So simple. It's actually really simple. It's
Yeah.
hard to practice, but it's
Yes.
a real simple concept, and you can cultivate it. You absolutely can cultivate it and have it. And by the way, some people say, oh, but Juliette, maybe you're a splenic, you have defined spleen. Of course, trusting is so easy for you. Well, Helena doesn't.
Nope.
So, this is not about your defined or non-defined.
I learned how to have faith through hard experiences and trusting in something bigger, deeper, greater, whatever it is, and seeing how life ends up working out eventually. Like that's what's built my faith.
I love it. how it works out eventually. And then
Yes.
meanwhile, we enjoy every day.
We
and
enjoy
we do
our
what we can
lives.
every day, because
Yes.
that's all we can do, right?
Yes. I'm on Instagram at Ms. Helena Woods. I'm on YouTube at Helena Woods Astrology. And then I also have a podcast, Cosmic Compass, if anyone wants to go deeper into the astrology stuff.
Absolutely. And guys, go to helenawoods.com and go and have a look at that about page, just to
Yeah.
drill this in, how long it took and how much it took to be here, right? And it's really important to acknowledge this.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for your time, and I will see you in the next episode of Visibility by Design.